gives you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, you know, and it's the full spectrum of humanity. Yeah. You go from, you know, pure joy to misery to hatred to anger to, you know, and it just goes like that all the time. Football gives you the highest of highs and the lowest.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Don Pod. For what might just be a somber little podcast. That little voice you heard there was Kasper Schmeichel, goalkeeper for Leicester City over in England. But just listening to that little podcast today and thought it was a good clip just to bring in. We'll call this a match review, but it's probably going to be a bit more of a, what would you call it, Nathan? Why are we so bad review?
You could call it a funeral, sort of. Because it might just be the death of the football club.
I love everything about it. Fremantle 16-11-107 defeating a very dismal Bombers 8-11-59. Just in, 2 sentences, how are you feeling?
Well, as your little audio clip says, there's an emotional pain felt with some of these losses, and being both of us lifelong supporters, you watch these games and it hurts. Like,
you can't wrap your head around
it. It really hurts. Like, it affects your week. You struggle with a few things. Like, there's mental issues with being this much of a passionate supporter of clubs. Like, it's not healthy.
It's really not healthy. I will preface this entire conversation with we're here just to talk about the club and where we think we're going and the performance and the fact we don't really think it's good enough. It's one of those things where we're going to probably be mentioning a few players and, talking about a fair bit in a negative light. So strap yourselves in. It was the first game I'd attended all year. What a delightful experience that was. So even just from our mine and yours discussion earlier, I have a little bit of a, not different take, but some other things that I wouldn't have otherwise got. If I weren't there, we put a post out earlier on the Facebook page, which we'll read through some comments later on. You can also comment on the live if you're here now on Facebook. Look, just to start with, we'll go through the usual stuff, the players, the numbers, the good, the bad, and then we'll take a look at some more in-depth bad, really. So for the Dons, in terms of disposals, this is entirely pointless, but anyway, Heppel 34, Parrish 33, Jake Kelly 26, not sure that's a bloke you want getting 26 disposals, Jai Caldwell 23.
Well, it has to, because it's down there that much.
Yeah, it's down there that often, and McGrath 23, Zerk Thatcher 20, Jeebers.
Really?
Yes.
I thought he played okay, actually.
I did too. In terms of sausage rolls, Nick Martin 2, Alec Waterman 2, singles to Caldwell, Cox, Draper and Guelphy. For the Fremantle, just quickly, Brayshaw 34, Sarong 30, Will Brodie 26. 7 goals to Matt Taberner, who just loves playing Essendon. Bailey Banfield 2, Sean Darcy 2, Michael Frederick 2, Sam Switkowski 2, and Andrew Brayshaw with 1. Probably the 3 votes there for Brayshaw.
I reckon Nick Martin could be on that. Nick Martin could be nearly leading the Essendon best and fairest at the moment.
Probably been the most steady contributor. Absolutely.
2 goals and another sort of, 15 sort of plus touches in this game.
Yeah.
So.
Look, other than that, there wasn't a lot of numbers to really talk about. I don't think anything stood out to me. Anything for you?
Nothing. We're talking positives.
Just talking numbers. We'll go positives first, I guess. Yeah.
No numbers. I mean, well, the numbers were all the numbers that we saw highlight the, forward inside 50s, the turnovers, the lack of clearance. Anyway, the negative numbers.
Okay. Well, okay. So most of this is going to be about what we think we can do better. So let's just cover off a few little flickering positives. I haven't really got many. BZT we touched on just a little bit there. Didn't really, or there's no reason to think he didn't have a good game. He played on Rory Lobb for the most part of it, and I think Lobb had kicked. I didn't just say his name, did I? He didn't kick a goal. I think he had his first shot fairly like third quarter.
So, I thought BZT was fine. I mean, if we think of he's replacing Stewart at the moment, then I would say the fact that BZT is in his early 20s, I'm not sure exactly how early, whereas Stewart I know is 28, then I would say BZT continues to get games. I can't see the point in... But I guess we're in a situation in the year so far that let's find out what some of these kids on our list can do. Like BZT is a prime example. What's the point of swapping him for Stewart now, if Stewart comes back fit? But we know what we get with Stewart. Is he in our future plans? I wouldn't think so. Is BZT? I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, BZT's 23.
Yeah. So if he's either stays at the club, like when's it going to happen? Like, is he a VFL player and a backup?
Well,
which it might just be, but we're going to find out.
I mean, he wasn't bad, like I said. I
don't think he was.
To a few things here and there. Played on Rory Lobb, who is 207 centimetres. BZT is 198. So, I mean, he's given away a fair bit.
And be giving away kgs too, I imagine.
Won't often play against a bloke that's 207, to be fair. That's massive.
But this is a massive issue with it. Like, how old tall is Taberner too? He'd be in the near 200s or over, wouldn't he?
198, yeah.
Yeah. So look, this is a massive issue that we keep coming up against.
Disrespect Taberner, but Jesus, he loves us. I'm sure he's a good player, but God, he's kicked more goals against us than anyone else.
Buddy?
I mean, he's kicked the most goals against Essendon and more goals than he's kicked against other teams. 7 more than West Coast for the same amount of games is second. So it's just beyond belief. Anyway,
well, it's interesting because
game because we're on the positives here.
Yeah. It's interesting though. Last year when we finished the year, we felt like our issue was the small forwards. They were beating us. You know, when we looked back, there was guys like Wakeman had kicked 4. The guy from Carlton, I think it was not Durden, the other one, had kicked 3 or 4. You know, when we look back, there were games where we felt like we need to improve. Was the small forwards were beating us? Yeah, so we went and got Kelly for that reason. Now, if you look at this year, like Taberner said, kicked 7. What Tex kicked 4 last week?
I can stat check.
What's his name? Yeah, what's his name from Hawkins kicked 4 or 5, I reckon, in the first week.
So yeah, Tex 4.
Yep.
Hawkins and Stengel 4 each.
Yeah, Stengel's small, so yeah. And then I wonder what Brisbane.
Well, 3 goals to McCluggage, 2 to Cameron, 2 to Neal, 2 to Bailey, 2 to Danaher. So they had a pretty good spread, but.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking it's interesting that the tall now it seems to be the problem seems to be at the moment. 3 games where a tall forward's kicked more than 4 plus against us.
Melbourne, just for the complete look at it, Wiedemann kicked 4 goals, 3.
Yeah, he did too. Yeah, and he should have really kicked 5 or 6 there because I remember some of those misses were pretty simple misses. So, and you know, and we talked about this. I think Stewart, we're not massive fans of. I don't know what he really brings. He seems to play on the smaller talls. Like he doesn't seem like for a guy who's 198. He seems to never match up on the talls. Like
Lav, the shorter defender, gets the taller forward.
And again, in this example, Lav was playing on Taberner, who obviously was the shorter forward.
So Lav's got 193, so he's given away a fair bit.
It's still way too small to be playing on a. But we really need to read.
Yes, we'll get to that when we look at next week. We need to be on the positives because
these are positives.
A lot of it.
I'm saying that like I think Lav's been doing it tough, like playing on oversized forwards, and that's been quite hard on him. BCT's done a good job coming in and playing on Lob. I think that's a great performance from those 2 guys. He's once had 7 kicked on him. Doesn't sound great, but he shouldn't be playing on a guy that size, if you ask me.
I agree. Sorry, excuse me. I want to talk about Jake Kelly, but just briefly because I'm going to talk about him. We're going to talk about a whole lot. 26 disposals for a defender is very useful, but indicates the ball's down there probably a bit too much. 500 metres gained, and the reason I bring that up, and he played 100% of game time. as well, Kelly.
Yeah, that's also really interesting, I think.
I thought his game was really good, but I'll talk more about him in a bit. 200 metres gained from 26 disposals. And my comparison for that, and do you have any more positives before I move?
No. Go, yeah.
That's it, okay. Dyson Heppel.
Yep.
On paper, 34 disposals. Whoa, big game.
That's a lot.
243 metres gained. So he's had 8 more disposals than Kelly and half his meterage. And Heppel's a defender. So metres gained should be a fairly easy thing for him to be able to get. And he's got 243 with 34 disposals. 13 kicks, 21 handballs. Sorry.
Well, it's a great point. Who's setting us up from the back half? Who's moving the ball forward? Who are those players we're giving the ball to get the ball forward?
Who's the kicker?
Yeah, who's our designated kicker? Like it used to be Francis because he could do it really well.
But Ridley used to be as well, but he doesn't seem to be getting it as much anymore either. But it's not even Heppel. 34 touches is a lot of football, but 21 handballs.
No, that's right. So he's not the kicker. And then if you look at Redmond in the game too, he only moved it 276 metres forward, which is about the same really as Heppel. So I thought that was his job. Isn't he meant to be this rebounding half-backer?
Well, yeah, and Hind is the other one there as well.
Yeah, and Hind barely saw the footy. He did 187 metres.
I'm honestly surprised that Redmond had 17 touches. Again,
they weren't very good ones.
At the game, I noticed him for the first time in the third quarter. So
yeah, he wasn't impressive. And this is the whole thing, as a team, and there's individuals in this. Like Redmond played a good game last week, but played a bad game this week. We can't seem to get anyone on our list in form and staying in form. Like Nick Martin is our best player at the moment, and probably Peter Wright. And Peter Wright had a pretty ordinary game.
Peter Wright had a stinker, but there's some other reasons that might have.
Yeah, that's right. And tall forwards, that's allowed. We're talking usually midfielders should be fairly consistent. Like probably it was Merritt until he went down.
Yeah. So, sorry, I should have mentioned Devon Smith too. I thought he made some poor decisions and kicked 0 goals 3, but was a lot more harassing and a lot more prominent in the game.
Had 6 tackles or something like that, which is what we want.
Really good to see, but a few other issues that we'll get into, I'm sure. Yeah, 6 tackles.
The one other thing I want to bring about Dyson Heppel is that he mentioned after the game, I don't know if you saw the interview with the Essendon Football Club about the blue collar. He referred to it as blue collar and workmanlike sort of performance in the first half. Now, if you have a look at his stat sheet again, how many tackles? Now, do you think tackles are something that makes you a blue collar team?
Well, if you're going to talk about work rate and working hard, yeah, that's the stat I'd be using to...
How many tackles do you reckon Dyson Heppel had for the game?
I haven't looked at it yet. 3.
0.
2-0, okay.
Now, again, a halfback flanker with the ball all around him. He's had 34 touches. He's handballed 20 of those times. How could you not have dropped a tackle at some stage during the game? Workmanlike, blue collar is not... To me, that doesn't scream workmanlike blue collar. And if I go through some of those tackles, the lowest tackle counts, Sammy Draper didn't drop one, which I think a ruckman should be how to tackle someone. The other ones that probably frustrate me, McGrath only laid 1 and Shield laid 1. And I think Parrish laid 2. Like, as the midfielders, again, where the ball is all day, and the opposition's got it all day, 2 tackles. How do you just lay 2 tackles for a game?
Yeah.
Workmanlike blue collar, it doesn't scream that to me.
No, it doesn't. And you said that about the blue collar thing. There was a thing on Reddit, and I apologise, I don't know who it was, Essendon Reddit, you'll find it, where it was an interview with Truck about, we want to be a blue collar team, blah, 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 blah. And then it showed footage of Parrish got stuck between sort of 2, a bloke with the ball and then Collier for a handball. Or I can't remember the other. Anyway, it ended up Collier getting the ball. I think he gave it off and then got it back and ran into 50 and I think ended up having a shot and kicked a point.
He basically runs past Parrish.
Parrish didn't even accelerate. Not even the tiniest little bit. He just went
Didn't get out of jog.
See you, Trav. Bye, mate. On what planet is that blue collar? I don't care if you're not quick enough, you don't get there, anything. No. You chase. It does not matter.
I think that's the thing that frustrates the supporters is this thing they push out to us is blue collar workmanlike. We're not idiots. We can see what like you have a look how Hawthorn played on Monday. That was workmanlike. That was blue collar. They got in and that gritted their teeth.
A training session.
Yep.
As you said, where they put the mouth guards in and they hit hard.
Yep. They went in hard, did tackling and rough stuff, and
there was one
look, you got a result.
I think in the last quarter, right? So game's done. Where, I wish I could remember. I think it was Rusty Martin. I think it was Nick Martin.
Yeah.
Chased, and I apologise, I don't know the Fremantle player. Quick Freo player, all the way down the wing. Got nowhere near him, but chased and closed down enough that the Freo player ran too far and got the free kick. You don't have to get there. You don't have to tackle. Sometimes just chase and pressure is enough. Thankfully, Travis Collier isn't the best kick in the world, so it wasn't overly damaging. But, that was late in the game, and I'm pretty sure it was Rusty Martin.
Yep, and this is why
free kick to us.
We lauded Guelphy for the week before with those, smothers and that effort on the sort of like the forward 50 where he got the free kick. That's what we're all about. So that effort, bring that effort every week. But they don't. It's like, well, they can bring it for 10 minutes or they can bring it for a quarter.
Yep.
That's about it. Can't do 4 quarters. And this leads us on to the question is it a fitness issue?
Yeah.
Is it a mind issue or is it I don't give a stuff issue?
That's a good segue. So, first of all, I guess some examples from what you saw on the tally, from what I saw at the game. So, I sit level 1, practically behind the goals at the Essendon end,
brag.
and row B. So I'm very close to it. I don't have the top down look, but I'm close to the action, I guess.
Yep.
So, the first things first. For the first half of the first quarter, they absolutely killed us on spread. So they went from left to right to left to right, and every single time had 1 or 2 players free on the other side and were able to move the ball forward without really any pressure whatsoever. Thankfully, we tightened up on that a little bit. But it was the same thing. In the first half of the first quarter, we looked tired. How can you be tired at the start of a game? If we run our guts out and were 3 goals up and got overrun, all right, it's not great, but okay. To be tired within 10 minutes blows my mind.
It's quite a concern when you show it like Fox. I watched a little bit of their different shows last night. And they were talking about us, and they showed some of that more down the ground and some different angles and all that sort of stuff. And there is no spread, there is no movement. The forwards, the mids, are not defending at all, are not moving, and teams are just running away from us, doing as they please, which is we're just playing really dumb football by kicking it to the same spots. Like we kick it to that, we always end up kicking into a contest in front of the interchange bench. Like that seems to be our favourite little. If we looked at a heat map, I'm sure it glows red there where our ball ends up. And then we lose that contest, and it goes back down the other way. And it's rinse and repeat, and it's really dumb. And it's been going on for the 5 weeks. Like it was the Geelong game now
for like 3 years.
Yeah, but if you look at that Geelong game, you think, oh, that was just a while. We're back. We haven't. We've played maybe a quarter or quarter and a half good football since. But not a lot. Even against Adelaide, we didn't play a lot of good footy. We just, we got the win. That was.
This is what frustrates me. I went back to work and people were like, oh, yeah, you won a game. And I was like, yeah. No. We didn't play well. Oh, well.
We probably shouldn't have won really.
Well, that's the problem. We didn't play well and we won. Okay, great. We got 4 points and we're not with Port, Owen, whatever. But when you come to the next game, you're not really in form.
No.
You've just gotten a win against a side who look okay, Adelaide, but they're not going to be,
Well, I was actually pretty impressed they beat Richmond. I don't know what it says about Richmond, but look, I don't think Adelaide are, they're bottom 6 team somewhere, and which...
They'll be bottom half, I would assume, but...
Yeah.
Anyway, we talked about that game. There was footage on the couch, I think, where it showed, like, I don't even know, without exaggerating, 6 or 7 players where this ball come out of the stoppage. I don't know if it was forward or back half. I apologise. And there was like just this cluster of players on the other side of the contest that just all walked. They did nothing to get to the next contest. They did nothing to go to a man. They just walked.
Nope.
And it's like, and they were saying it on the show. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Horrible.
You professional athletes. Where's your pride in your performance? Just to at least try.
Now, interestingly, I'm going to say this, and this means nothing because it's just something I'm going to say, Sam.
Okay, well, it means something then, but go on.
Well, yeah, sorry, you're right, it's something. Just something of interest. So, this time last year, we were 1-4.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. But the mood was
we lost to Hawthorn in that first round. Remember that?
Awful.
We lost to Hawthorn.
That was bad.
We lost to Port. We got pounced by Port. We flogged St Kilda and thought, oh, look at us, we're
I
good.
want to come back to that. Yep, go on.
Yep. And then we just lost to Sydney, like we normally do.
Yeah, that was a ripper game.
And then we got pantsed again by Brisbane in that wet game up at the Gabba, I think it was.
But then beat Collingwood, and that was...
Then beat Collingwood, and then we were then all of a sudden 2-6, 2-5, or whatever, 2-4, or whatever, sorry. 2-4 at round 6, and then 1-11. So won the next one, what's that? Come on, brain. 2, that's 9. 9 out of the next 16 or so.
Yeah, and most of that came in the latter half of the year because we won the 3 straight to finish after the bye. But if I can take you back, I don't think we're in a similar position to last year.
No, but I'm just saying, the difference there too, if you look at the points for and points against, last year at this same stage, we'd only had like 400 points kicked against us, whereas this year we are the worst team, again, a stat from last week, we're leaking over 100 points a game, which is horrible.
I took a little screenshot of some stats I saw. Yep. This was on Twitter Classified, unfortunately. Points against, average 108, rank 18th. Percentage of scores per inside 50 against, rank 18th. Marks inside 50, 16th. Score from turnover, 17th. So that's us scoring. Scores from stoppages, 17th. Defensive 50 to inside 50 percentage against, rank 17th. Defensive 50 to goal percentage against, 17th. Tackles, 18th.
Blue collar, workman-like.
Not blue collar.
Blue collar, workman-like doesn't... How can you rank 18th in tackles and tell the members that you're playing a blue collar, workman-like type of football?
And you can't just put it all on one stat, right? You can't just say it's all on tackles. Fair enough. Defensive 50 to goal. We talked about that last week, how open we are. We're ranked 17th. So we're not even putting pressure on across the ground. It's not just about...
We're the second shittest team at letting everyone else run it from one end to the other. And we don't tackle.
Yeah.
Blue collar workman-like does not scream those things.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that frustrates me. As 20 years of mediocrity, that the club comes up to us and spills that crap to us. Oh, here's what we're doing. This is what we're going to stand for this year. No, we're not.
No, we're not. Yeah. I would say nothing. Let them go out there and play, right? Because then at least you're not lying to us or bullshitting us. We said it before the season started. I think whether it was on the pod or not, I can't remember. Our marketing department deserve an award. How every single year they get us all excited, all happy and up and about, and then the 60,000 of us we deal with. It's awful, right? Because last year, me and you in particular, because we had some people around us that absolutely helped this to happen, were hanging shit on Carlton. Because, they're shit again. Ha, ha, ha. Sard's crap. Hines better. You duds. Now, they look... I mean, they've had a few closer ones. They probably shouldn't have. But they seem to be on an upward trend. They're 4-1. Sard's a lot better than Hind at this point in time.
How's that happened? How have we turned Hind into a worse player this year?
Yeah, I don't know. You say that about the whole list.
Well, there's not one player, as I said. The only player that's improved is Nick Martin, and he wasn't there last year.
He wasn't even
Maybe there's something in that.
Peter Wright, you could argue. But now we're the ones that are, you shit again, haha. Yeah. We are.
Yeah, we are.
And, let's not worry about winning a bloody final. Let's just worry. If we played 23 rounds of consistent football and finished 10th, we lost to the teams that were better than us and we beat some teams below us, maybe beat one or two teams above us, but we were consistent. Yeah, all right. Then you just go, right, well, it's personnel. We just need to improve maybe more than game plan. Right now, one, there doesn't seem to be a game plan. Or there is and it's not working because they do the same thing every time. So you could argue they're well drilled. It's just a shit
There is
drill.
a game plan. It's just the bad game
it's just
plan.
A bad one. I don't know. I thought a lot of these issues would go when Worsfold went, and they haven't. I don't know. I can't sit here now and go, is it truck because it's only round 5? But I can count on one hand the amount of players that have improved out of 44. Well, not including.
Well, yeah, in the first 5 rounds, which we talked about, is 20% of the season is nearly finished.
Yep.
Nearly 25%, whatever. 25? Anyway.
It's just under 25%, yep.
Yeah. So 25% of the season is nearly done, and we, at the moment, would sit there and go, who's better this year? Who would you say?
Oh, I need a crickets sound effect. Peter Wright looked better with 2 ruckmen, so throw him in there. Rusty Martin's phenomenal, but you can't pick him as someone who's improved because, like you said, he wasn't even there last year. I'm drawing blanks beyond that. Our entire backline's gone backwards.
Well, our team defence. But if
you're going to go through the positions on the field. So the back 6, no one there's improved. The midfield,
no, they're all got worse. There's no doubt about that.
You could maybe say Shield, but then he played 4 games last year. So
he's played a couple of good quarters, Shield, but not Smith. Good games.
You could say maybe he's gotten better, but again, not a real huge sample size from
Who's
last
that,
year.
Smith?
Smith, yeah.
Yeah, no, he hasn't gotten better.
The forward line, well, again,
Peter Wright.
Peter Wright's the only real mainstay. Beyond that...
And Perkins had a good couple of early games and then has dropped off in the last 2. But
overall,
Caldwell,
I guess
you can give Caldwell points but that's because he didn't play.
Well, again, same as Shield didn't play.
Yep.
Cox has struggled. I won't say he's been shit because he's a kid, but he's struggled to really be consistent. So what we're saying, maybe Perkins and Wright. We knew we weren't going to be top 6. We weren't going to make that progression this year, but
no, that was never.
We didn't quite expect it to be this bad.
And I think it really, the issue is, that last year we were 6th or 7th for points against. So we were, and we all know, we talk about this, that the best teams, you have to, for one, be in the top 3 and that points against. All of a sudden, we've fallen from that 6, 7, sort of 8, whatever we were, to 18th in that. And by a long way. We are a long way behind everyone else. Yeah. Now, I think that's a real concern because you can, as we talked about, you can lose games but still be in them or be competitive. We haven't been close. The only game, Adelaide, we were close, but we still could have lost it, and we still let them score nearly 100 points. Every other game, we have been nowhere near it.
But we probably played better against Brisbane than we did against Adelaide. If you're going to look at how
I think we played better for longer, though. We still didn't play for a long time against Brisbane. We played a half.
The good football was better.
Yeah, okay.
In that game. Same in Melbourne. Melbourne, we played some good football. But what you would want to see then is maybe then against Adelaide, who aren't as good a side, and nowhere near Melbourne and Brisbane, for Christ's sake, that we'd get 3/4 of good football, and then Adelaide are going to... In every game of football, you're going to have momentum swings. You're never going to just dominate from start to finish, unless you're playing North, or us at this point. But just haven't seen it. And how many more seasons can go by before? Oh,
well, there's going to be another 3 seasons at least. Realistically, this team is a 3. The positive. Let's try and think of. The thing is, we are a young side. Let's agree with that. We are a young side. The oldest players been Heppel, Smith, Stringer, and those sort of guys. Merritt's probably one of the older players in there. Hurley not in it. Tiff Moody not in it. but we'll come back, I guess, at some stage. Relatively, there's a lot of guys in there who are under 25 games. Hobbs played his first game. Guys like Draper, Cox, Perkins, all them are probably under 25, 30 games. Caldwell's definitely under that. So there's a lot of young players in there. But the question I asked you today is, do we have a good list or are we just playing a shit brand of football?
We have an okay list, right? It's not a list right now. If we played to our absolute top-tier football, where would
everyone was fit? If everyone was fit and we played good footy, we'd be okay-ish.
We'd be maybe 7th or 8th again.
Yep.
And that's because we're missing key. We're missing a key
forward. We're missing another tall forward.
And a key
Jones might be it, but we don't know.
But right now, we're missing a key forward, a key defender, and work rate.
Yeah, but let's just assume...
to be okay.
Yeah. Let's assume the work rate and fitness and all those things become something we can solve, because that is solvable. You can't just you can't create a 200 centimetre key defender if you don't have one.
How's that? How are we fixing that? How does Truck today or yesterday, presumably, sit there in their match review? Because that's the mental stuff. That's in their head. When Darcy Parish watches Travis Collier sprint past, what's in his head? He's going, I can't catch him.
Well, it's leadership too. Are other people, when they do a review, which I'm sure they do in-depth, do the other players sit there and look at Darcy in the room and go, what were you doing there? Because if you think you're going to be a leader of this football club, if you're challenging to be a captain or a vice captain or whatever, that is not acceptable as a leader, that effort. Because for all Merritt does chase and he's probably one of our better tacklers too.
Mm.
We've got. I think the problem is we've got a couple of midfielders like Shield and Parish who love to go forward, but don't run hard going back. Yeah, but you can have one of them, and most teams probably have one. But I think if you've got 2 or 3, you start to get burned really quickly.
It's an interesting point you say there about leadership. And how that looks, and in their review and all that sort of stuff. That the clip I played at the start about sport and football and how it plays with your emotions and all that.
Yeah.
So I think I said he's a goalkeeper for Leicester in English soccer on a podcast with Ben Foster, who's a goalkeeper for Watford, Cycling GK. Awesome channel, awesome content. Ben Foster's one of the more positive people, right? But he's 38 or 39-year-old. He's done it. He's played for Manchester United. He's played for Watford, a whole bunch of teams. And he talks with everyone he interviews about leadership and how you just can't talk to younger guys like you used to. Because they're already copping it because they're on their phones and on social media and all that. And you're not going to get the best out of them by just being like, yeah, geez, that was shit, wasn't it? So, there's no answer.
No,
you just hope Truck and all the staff and all that understand, if they're that moment they want to approach and talk to Parish specifically, they know how to do that for him.
Yeah.
Because that's what you've got to do. You've got to treat every one of those players and how you give feedback to them individually. I have no idea what that looks like or how they do that, but to me, that effort seems like they're not in a good space.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't seem like that things are right. And I mean, it could be one of those things. And I'm grasping at straws. Where that you find out at the end of the year, Parish actually was carrying an injury for the first half, or or things like that, or something that was just niggly, or you always find out sometimes at the end of the year that things, well, there might be just upset in the group, but I really feel as though I don't feel that, because the group has shown, we've seen a lot of social media and a lot of stuff that they look close.
Really tight, yeah.
They look like a bunch of guys that really enjoy spending time with each other, which, you think that's an important part of being a football team.
Naturally, when you're winning, you probably do that.
It's a lot easier. Yeah.
I want to move on because we're coming up to 40 minutes.
We can't. I think everyone who knows us, loves us, and who's listening to this would feel a lot of the same emotions that we're feeling. We don't know how to express them. We don't know what to do. We'll just go along for the ride.
And yeah, so I wanted to talk about Jake Kelly quickly. And then we will look at some comments and some input from the people that are currently listening. So Jake Kelly, and our forward line, sorry, one more thing as well. Jake Kelly, I swear, was the only player in that back line with a voice.
Yeah.
Anytime Fremantle kicked a goal, and again, it was only for half the game because that's when it was in front of me.
Yep.
Only bloke after a goal was kicked, like, hey, hey, and I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he's yelling, he's talking to his teammates, and he's a presence in that back line. There was one time, and this kind of is venturing into some other things, with some supporters that I have issues with at the game. It was towards the end of the game, maybe 5 or 6 minutes left. It was done, right? For all intents and purposes, it was done. The right thing to do as a player in that circumstance is, we kicked like 2 or 3 goals in a row, so maybe there's a chance, You kick it up the middle, right? Mm-hmm. You go from defence to attack in the shortest route possible. Jake Kelly got the ball. I looked up the field as well, saw an Essendon player. That's where he kicked it. It got chopped out by a Fremantle player. They kicked it back in. They kicked a goal, right? I don't have an issue with that, right? For a couple of reasons. One, he's done the right thing in trying to move on quickly. Two,
he's trying to win the game at this stage.
Yeah. He's seen a player and he's made a decision and he's kicked it to him. Yep. No hesitation. Yep. Big tick. Huge tick. It got chopped out. All right. Not ideal. Maybe the kick could have gone further. Whatever.
Yep.
What you don't need as a player in that situation, and you can say they don't listen to the crowd or don't take it on board, whatever. They're humans. They're going to hear it and they're going to react to it in some way.
Yep.
Some bloke behind me yelling out, you kick it like a defender, and having a go at him. So, and that's pretty symptomatic of the whole crowd at that point, because it was a pretty awful day. But don't take it out on our players. We can sit here and talk about it. Guarantee you there's no Essendon players listening to this, right? It's us talking to supporters and to each other. At a game, you can go at the umpires. There's a line you don't cross. You can go at opposition players. Again, there's a line you don't cross. But especially a member, would have been a member in that scenario, support your players. Because even though we might think they're shit, right at this point in time, we want them to be good. We want them to succeed.
Yep.
So that just really, really annoyed me more than anything
else.
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
Anyway, sorry. Back on Kelly. His voice, he played 100% of the game time. I loved it. I loved what I saw from him. There was one point where Heppel come into a conversation they were having. It looked like he was having a great time and smirking and joking. I'm like, mate, we're 40 points down. I'm seriously questioning Heppel as a captain, as a player, everything. Jake Kelly, though, loved it.
Well, I think when we talk about, at the end, if we, who we think might go out and in, Heppel and Redmond are those guys that I think are on the chopping block because of the attributes they don't have. I understand why they're in the team, but for me, there's other players. I'd prefer us to play Reid if he's fit. If he's not fit, then that's fine. But I think we need to find a second or possibly a third tall to help us in defence that can help out Laverde, who's playing on well oversized guys, and to help BZT, who's played 10, 15 games or whatever he's played. So it's an issue there for me.
While we're on that, just because it's a nice segue, you said this earlier, I'd like to see Reid come in on the proviso that there is not a single niggle, anything bothering him. If he is 100%
fit and firing,
he plays. Because we are.
I don't want him to do the calf or a hamstring or something in a week or two. I don't want that. I just want.
He has to be 100%
if it's not
fit.
play another VFL game, don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if he comes in and plays 75% AFL, we said if he gets 3 touches and prevents 1 goal,
then that's great.
No dramas, but just for the love of God, make sure he's fit. I'm not going to crap on about our forward line. The difference in Fremantle's movement versus our movement is mind-boggling. Every time it came into our forward line, they were still Peter Wright stand there with his arm up, and they kick it on his head.
But no one leads. But that's been a problem with our forward line for years. Like, we do not have strong leading forwards that lead at the ball. Like and draw defenders up.
On the flip side, Fremantle, and I think Freo were a good side. If we'd lost by a couple of kicks and played well, wouldn't really be bothered by it. Fremantle, they're going everywhere. I couldn't sit there and watch a player because they were just running different spots and making room and making space. It just, so different. Such a different thing to watch. And you're right, it's been a thing for so long. So why hasn't Truck? I don't know who the forward line coach is.
Well, we got a new forward coach from Queensland. I can't remember if he came from Brisbane, but we got a new forward coach, and he was meant to be eaten a bit. I remember reading the Essendon again, the PR team talked him up as
marketing team.
Oh, the award-winning marketing team. They talked him up as the best forward coach going around, and he's such a welcome addition to the team, and all this sort of. I thought, he sounds good. Well, that's what we need him for. Maybe he'll teach the bastards to lead. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
But no.
Look, Wright did look better.
I don't know what they do at training. Do they just stand there and go, now, you boys all just stand.
Can't even do that very well.
No one lead. Don't you dare lead. Everyone just stand there and put your hand up. Go, kick it to me.
Wright looked better with two ruckmen, so I hope Brian comes in for Phillips, because you'd assume
100%.
Phillips will be out for a little bit.
Oh, Phillips, yeah.
He's 30-year-old.
And I hope to God they do that, because Draper needs help, because as a ruckman, tapping, he's fine, but around the ground, he's still not taking marks, he's still not tackling, he's still not giving us anything. Like, I think he's had 5 or 6 marks for the year, 6 from 5 games, which is... Let's call it shit house. Like seriously, as a ruckman, a guy who's 6'6",
again, a guy
can't mark the ball once a fucking game.
Who last year was very good. Who we thought we might see a bit of natural progression. Who just hasn't.
Seriously, you're 6'6" and you mark the ball one fucking time a game.
Yeah,
that is shit.
Yeah,
it's shit. No, let's call it shit. It's just shit. Seriously, mate. Mark the fucking thing.
I agree with you 100%, obviously. He did clothesline a Fremantle player at one point, and this is saying how bad it was. I was like, yeah, at least you tried. At least you got in there and, I don't mind those sort of mistakes. I have no, he gave away a free ticket for a high tackle the other day. I don't mind those sort of things. I have no problem with that. But he's going to make mistakes. He's young. But the fact that you can't mark the bloody thing... is a massive issue as a ruckman, because that's what they do. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. And last year he was getting back in defence, taking marks more often than he was going in the forward line, but he was taking marks and he was consistent. One thing I will say in Sammy's defence is his hit-outs and hits-outs to advantage have gotten a lot better from the early parts of the year.
Yeah, 100%. I think he was second or third in hit-outs in the AFL. The stat I looked at the other day. Yeah. We're going crap at... clearances, but hit-outs advantage is not great, but in crap at clearances. But he's getting his hand on it first. So again, that you think of that in 3 years, if that keeps up, and our midfielders learn how to midfield, then that's a basics, and that's what we always were attracted to about Draper. He's got this lovely big leap on him. He's a big guy. He's mobile. He's just got to learn to. I don't care if the kicking less of an issue, because I don't care about ruckman that kicks.
Oh my
ruckman got to learn to handball. But ruckman got to learn to handball and handball quickly and mark. That's their jobs.
One of the more frequent things I say at football is do not handball to a ruckman. He needs to be taking marks or getting hit outs and clearances from the ruck contests.
Or handballing to someone.
It. Well, I'd even argue that
he should be. If he gets the ball, if the ball comes to him, he's got to handball.
Yeah, I know, but generally speaking, kicks or quick clearances.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're going to go into some of your comments. So we've got the live. I'll get to you guys in a minute. There are a couple of comments from earlier on, just on the Facebook page, Glory and Fame. Shameless self-promotion. We won't spend too much time on it because we're come up on 50 minutes now. Need a captain who leads by example. Good work rate, but isn't effective enough. From Colin. Don't disagree with that.
But who do we make captain? Who would be our captain at the moment? I don't know anyone that in that team yesterday. There's no one the one else I'd pick.
Well, I mean, the one bloke I saw that displayed leadership was Jake Kelly, but I don't really think he's the guy you go to.
You're going to give it to.
So I don't know, but is that the reason?
I agree with the comment. I just don't know what the alternative is.
especially when Merritt is probably vice and isn't in the team.
Yep.
What's going on with Nick Hind? First few games after Sard left, he was almost better, and now we get absolutely no run whatsoever, says Dane. Yep.
Agree with that 100%. We feel like we've sent him backwards too.
Yep. Just reading through.
Yep.
Danny Brown, pretty embarrassing being an Essendon supporter at the moment. Stats don't lie. Any player who records less than 3 tackles this week can all have a $10,000 fine, and all the proceeds can go to charity. Love it.
That's a good idea. I like it. And I think that thing that again, training. I hope to God at training that they go and practice something like tackling, and I want a physical training session on the Tuesday or the Thursday night. I'm not sure. It's not probably not like old school footy when I went.
Probably not.
One of those nights, there better be some physical, like wrestling. Real sort of
in, boys. Yeah,
mouth guards in, sort of stuff. Crack in, tackles, wrestles. Real sort of hard stuff. Because Collingwood.
We'll talk about that when we talk about that.
Don't be far away. It's Thursday.
Probably my favourite comment from this lot, Roscoe Cook, who I believe is a long-time follower of ours on Facebook. Also, the whole "I've got the coolest hairstyle" can piss off. How about playing footy?
I do. You know how I feel about AFL players' hair.
Yeah. Shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be a thing we focus on. But
no, but it just shits me.
It's one of these things that when you're winning, no one cares. When you're losing,
I even noticed with Jones, I watched a bit of the VFL game. You wouldn't have seen it because it was on Channel 7 anyway. I flicked over and watched a bit before the game start. And Harry Jones was playing. Look, took a couple of good marks. But I noticed his hair's all flopping all over the soap. And I'm like, fucking put it up or cut it.
Yeah.
Put it up and cut it, mate. I can't handle that. I feel like, that's, what's his name from Seinfeld? So when you shave the sideburns higher. Have you seen that? Somebody will get that.
Somebody will. I'm not a Seinfeld watcher.
You don't really know any Seinfeld thing. Not Seinfeld, Simpsons stuff.
Simpsons, I know.
Well, it's the Simpsons. Sorry, I said Seinfeld, didn't I? Sorry. It's the Simpsons where Monty Burns he gets the baseball team and he makes the guy shave his eyebrows higher.
Yeah. His eyebrows or his sideburns?
Sideburns. I'm getting tired. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah, we're going. Back to the live comments now. So 22 viewers at the moment, which is very good for us. That's peaked at about 5 concurrently normally. So thank you. A
lot of angry people out there.
A lot of angry folk wanting to, feel like their opinions are right, I guess. Damien Rose, love this club and always have since a 5-year-old, but Julies, when are they going to get some grunt and hunger? Doesn't seem like they want to win. Spot on. This was at the start. Alfie suggested get angry, Nath. I think you did.
I think I'm past that, Alfie. I
think we got it.
I had to turn off. I had to turn the game off for little periods. My children were around while I was watching it, so I had to just turn it off and walk away. No, they don't like me swearing. So I had to turn it off and walk away for periods just to,
They might be one of the 21 listing. So hello.
It might be. No, the Lego Masters on.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Take it back.
I'm missing Lego Masters, Sam.
Oh, more important stuff. Kyle King, it's hard when we want them to win and fight, but they just don't want it. So why are they on the list? Yep, questioning the effort.
Yeah.
Nathan Reynolds, does anyone else have trouble watching the live feeds? I'll have to watch the replay. If that's about the pod, let us know what your issue is and I can try and fix it because I don't know. Everything seems fine. A few people tagged. Joe Carbine has gone with a longer comment. For a team that clearly wants to be a front half pressure team, our ball movement to get the ball there is ridiculously slow, predictable, and not suited to our lineup. We play our best when we take the game on, run and change angles. We're not the Eagles, Hawks, or Swans to cut through teams by foot. Agree with that.
No,
and even if we go too slow. You're right with what you said. We go way too slow and way too.
We go too slow. But what's our second plan? Like if we can't run it, they've set up. Then we have to kick it. So we have to get some players that can kick by foot.
Here's your popular opinion.
Kick by foot is stupid.
Yeah, it's not short at all.
Yeah.
Bring back the torp. We got 2 blokes in our team that can kick it.
Really? This is your strategy. Kick it another 10 minutes.
It's less
kick it crooked.
It's less predictable. We might sneak, and we can't do any worse. can we?
I do agree with that last comment though, but I think you need to have a strategy to move the ball when you're stuck on the back half, and if Hines not carrying it, and that sort of
agree with you. But bring back the talk. Derby. I'm sure there's a better way to say your surname other than Malkahi, but that's all I've got for now. Feel like Dev looked better, bar the fact
he did.
Excuse me, bar the fact he really couldn't hit the scoreboard for the life of him. Yes, and we were going to talk about him calling for a handball from Sam Durran from a regulation shot. Just not needed. Let the guy kick the goal or have the shot goal because you missed. So clearly you're not that.
Well, I didn't like it because I think you should have just backed the young kid in, Sammy Durham, and just said, go back, have a shot, mate. And, he should have walked over to him and just been that senior voice in his ear to say, just go back and have the shot, mate. Nail it.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant Brasher, 14 of the 22 players had 1 tackle or less. 6 had 0. Parrish 2, Shield 1, McGrath 1, Culber 1, Heppel 0. Inexcusable.
Blue collar, workmanlike. Not there. That's
not. Yeah.
Don't feed us shit, Essendon Football Club. We can see the stats. We're not idiots.
You're taking your supporters for bloody idiots. Yeah. Joe, again, I don't understand how this group could be unfit when they return 2 weeks before all the other teams to address this particular point. Well, maybe that's gone the opposite way. Who knows?
How though? How can you train more and be less fit?
Don't know. Sarah says, our team are not at AFL level, full stop. Again, I'd be really interested if we played North Melbourne this week. I would hate it because we'd probably lose, but I'd be interested to see how bad we're going.
I don't think we're going to be Collingwood, but we'll talk about it on Thursday night.
Yeah. A few more tags there. Jeffrey Ma says, would like to know individual stats for players for speed in attack and defence. Good indicator on what level of effort they have. I agree. I'm not sure that's something we can do, but you can see it. You can see through that footage on the couch, the lack of running, even the lack of running forward was an issue. It's not even that it's one-way running at this point.
The AFL app does have that sort of speed thing, like GPS data, but that wasn't working for this guy. I went to check on a few things, but it didn't seem to be showing up. But and this frustrates me. It only works on the app, doesn't work on the website. Like, I don't understand why the web. Anyway, I hate looking at shit on my phone because I'm old.
You're old, yep.
I need a bigger screen.
Speaking of old, Chris Rule says, your mids were flat out lazy in the third quarter. Lack of effort is not the coach's fault. That popped up as we were talking about Truck. Again, we know Chris and we know he's old, so don't be offended by that, unless you're Chris. There's a lot
How about Adelaide, huh?
There's a lot of comments. Yeah, go the Crows. One last one from Joe. 2 metre Peter couldn't lead because he was sandwiched between a player on his... hang on a minute. On his trail and a player in front. Our entries were also not deep enough. The movement was pathetic. Yeah, okay. But
we still need leading forwards. Like we can't just rely on bombing it on his head. That can't be the strategy.
No. One very last thing, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep.
When the ball was on our sort of 60, 70 metres out, there was one instance I can remember clearly where it was Perkins. It would have been a lot of other players throughout the game. You had Peter Wright in the goal square with Alex Pearce. Alex Pearce played on him pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, played well.
On him. Fair enough. He's a defender. And then you had, in this instance, Archie Perkins about 15 metres in front of him, like in the forward pocket, coming in from the members' wing, not the broadcast wing. Perkins just stood there, and all the other players that were in that position just stood there. And Peter Wright stood there with his arm up. Like, I don't think, being the nuffy I am, I played football when I was 12, never coached, never done anything other than watch football, right? My 2 cents, if Perkins leads... right, he might get the football. That should be an incentive for me to lead, would be to get the football. I was a forward, I like kicking goals. Right, checks out. If he doesn't get the football, all of a sudden there's space to kick the ball into for Peter Wright to run into and maybe mark the football. So instead, every single time, we just bombed it on Peter Wright's head.
Yeah.
One... your forwards aren't going to have a good game if you're doing that to them the whole time. 2, Wright kept running under the football, so maybe it was just an off day for him in that regard.
Yep, which is loud.
But I just don't get it.
It's an interesting thing because if you, in my brain, my football brain, I say as a forward, it's very natural for a forward to lead at someone when they've got the ball. That's what you want to do. When you're there and you see someone in front of you, you want to lead at them into a space. Now, if the players aren't doing that, are they tired and don't have the energy to run, or is it a game strategy that they're told not to do it? Don't lead at the guy. We want you all there, so when the ball hits the ground, you're going to be crumbing it and kicking goals. Is that the strategy?
Really cannot imagine that being a thing.
No, I can't. But why else? I don't understand why as a forward, because forwards naturally lead at the kicker. That's what forwards do. We run up and want the ball at us.
So 2 things on that, and then we'll wrap up, I promise. One is there was a clearance late in the game where Parrish ran away with it and kicked to a leading Waterman, I think it was.
Yep.
So clearly, there's not an instruction there not to lead. And that
can't be the instruction.
That would hurt my soul. What I wonder, and again, we're just guessing more than anything else, is it a selfish thing that I'm not going to lead because I won't get the ball? But we don't.
And then I want to be here for the crumb to kick the goal.
Yeah, maybe that too. Well, a good forward line to me, again with very little to no experience. One bloke leads, which creates a leading lane for someone else, which then creates a leading lane for someone else, so on and so forth. Right. Once that kick goes to a particular spot, players are going to move towards that spot. The whole crumbing thing is going to happen naturally because players will go towards the ball. Mostly in that instance. There's just none of it. And the contrast is Fremantle had unbelievable movement and...
I do wish on all this sort of, Sam, that there was a way to communicate these questions, just 2 or 3 of these main questions to the club. And as members, that we both are, that you could, through a membership sort of forum, that information would come back via that email sort of thing. Because I get frustrated with when the club puts out their, after game sort of thing, and, what's his name? Josh Maloney, is it? Josh?
Sure.
Anyway, he's the guy that sort of talks after the game about, what we did with this and that. And I'd really like it if someone like us, a supporter, could be there asking the question. So, but why don't our forwards lead?
I think the problem with that is that out of, let's say, 60,000 members, could be more, could be less. There's a lot
just
of
be you and me, obviously, asking questions.
That, and I would include myself in that.
Oh, come on, Sam.
We're nuffs. That's what we are. That's why we're sitting here doing a podcast. We're nuffies. I see what you're saying. We're not getting the information we want. And there are, out of the 60,000 members, there might be 5,000 members that are really smart football people and know a lot of stuff and have questions that, as paying members, should get answered.
But if you look at the social media in the last 24-hour cycle since the game, or 48 hours since the game, whatever,
I imagine.
But they're all exactly the same. Like those people that we, like Herbertron and those guys. It's all the same footage they're showing of why are we doing this? Why are we continuing to do this? Why are we continuing to kick it to there? Like we're all seeing the same things. Like there's nothing brilliant about what we're seeing or saying. We're just all seeing the same thing. And we go, well, why are we doing, for 5 weeks now, doing the same thing wrong continually? Like, why? Please.
It would be nice. It would be lovely. It would be lovely for us, even if we had, I know other podcasts have a club official on the podcast every Monday to talk about things. But for now, all we can do is just talk about it and how we feel about it. And
let's wrap this up. I'm getting tired. Done pod 3, 2, 1.
Oh God. Okay. Sorry. You asked the blooming question.
Yeah, I know. I regretted it.
I don't have a 3, 2, 1. I don't know. I don't even know.
The challenge. We got to do a 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna give Kelly 3.
Yep. I'll throw you mine.
No, Rusty Martin 2 actually.
I'll give you mine to help you out. I'm going to give Kelly 3, Caldwell 2, and Martin 1.
Caldwell 2.
Caldwell was fine. Like Caldwell, for a kid who's playing 10 games, he's playing really well. I'd like to see him more in the mid. I'd love to see him at more CBAs. I'd like to see him doing a little bit more in the grunt. I know he's still probably a fitness issue or whatever. He does a lot right to me. Doesn't make mistakes. He's not a clumsy footballer. He's a pretty strong little nugget.
Yeah.
I like him. I like the way he goes about it.
Joe's just come in with a comment. 3 Kelly, 2 BZT, 1 Martin. And I don't disagree. So
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
BZT, my 1.
I don't have a problem with BZT being in there too because I thought he played a good game.
Yeah. All right. Now, Anzac Day is Monday, so there's a slight chance teams won't be named until Friday, so we might be doing a Friday night preview rather than a Thursday night, but whenever our initial squad is named is when we'll get a preview out. Other than that,
we'll be doing a review Monday night after that one.
Well, I'll be on my way home.
Right.
Assuming I don't have COVID. That'd be nice though. How good. Other than that, no final thoughts.
Just please make it stop. What's that?
Stop. He's already dead.
Yeah, that one. Stop. He's already dead.
From
That's
Seinfeld.
Us at the moment. Yeah, no. I see what you did there. You did there. Stop. He's already dead. That should be our little the banner this week.
Yeah.
Stop. It's already dead.
Do it. Just go do it.
Maybe you should make that the little picture for this podcast when it goes on YouTube. The picture of that.
Thumbnail. All right, done.
Yep.
All right, lastly, apologies to the Spotify and Apple users. I didn't upload the preview. I completely forgot, and then I was in Melbourne when I remembered it, so apologies for that.
Come on, Sam.
Thank you to...
One job.
I know. Well, it's like 700 jobs once I finish the podcast, but yeah, sure. Thank you to everyone listening, everyone here live, everyone on YouTube, wherever you are. It's really appreciated. We're seeing good numbers, so we love it. And through gritted teeth, I say, go Dons.
Oh, go you mother...
Don't swear. You've done so well. Go the Dons. Come on, give us one.
No, Dons!
Yes. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.